In the tense years after World War II, the world entered a new kind of conflict, one where battles were often silent, threats came from the sky, and technology evolved faster than any navy had ever experienced. The oceans were no longer ruled only by massive guns and armored hulls. Instead, radar screens, jet aircraft, and guided missiles began to decide the balance of power. In the middle of this dramatic transformation stood USS Canberra, designated CAG-2, a ship that represented one of the most important turning points in naval history. USS Canberra began her life as a heavy cruiser, built during the final years of World War II. She was named in honor of the Australian cruiser HMAS Canberra, which had been lost during the Battle of Savo Island in 1942. This naming carried deep symbolic meaning, representing the close alliance between the United States and Australia and honoring the sacrifice made in the brutal Pacific War. Launched in 1944, USS Canberra was completed too late to see combat in World War II, but her true importance would emerge in the decades that followed. When Canberra first entered service, she was armed like many cruisers of her era, with powerful naval guns designed to fight enemy ships and support amphibious landings. Yet even as she joined the fleet, it was becoming clear that the age of gun-only warships was nearing its end. The introduction of nuclear weapons and high-speed jet aircraft created new threats that traditional naval guns could not effectively counter. Enemy bombers could strike from long distances, and a single successful attack could devastate an entire fleet. Faced with this reality, the U.S. Navy made a bold decision. Rather than retiring its newest cruisers, it would transform them into something entirely new. USS Canberra was selected to undergo a radical conversion that would redefine her role and reshape naval warfare itself. This transformation would make her the second guided missile cruiser in the world, following USS Boston, and mark another major step into the missile age. During her conversion, USS Canberra was stripped of much of her traditional armament. Massive gun turrets were removed, and in their place came Terrier surface-to-air missile launchers. Advanced radar systems, fire control equipment, and missile handling spaces were installed throughout the ship. The interior was completely reorganized to support a new kind of combat, one focused on detection, tracking, and rapid response rather than direct line-of-sight engagements. When she was recommissioned in 1956 as CAG-2, USS Canberra emerged as a ship unlike any that had sailed before. She was no longer just a cruiser, she was a mobile air defense platform designed to protect aircraft carriers and entire task forces from airborne threats. In an era when enemy bombers could carry nuclear weapons, this mission was critical. Canberra missiles extended the defensive umbrella of the fleet far beyond what guns or fighters alone could provide. Life aboard USS Canberra reflected the changing nature of naval service. Sailors trained extensively on radar interpretation, missile handling, and electronic warfare. Combat information centers became the heart of the ship, filled with glowing screens and constant communication. Every drill was treated seriously, because in a real conflict there would be no second chances. A delayed response or system failure could mean disaster. As the Cold War intensified, USS Canberra sailed across the world's oceans, participating in fleet exercises and demonstrating American naval strength. Her presence during NATO operations reassured allies and sent a clear signal to potential adversaries. Canberra was not just defending ships, she was defending political stability and strategic balance. During one of the most dangerous periods in human history, the ship also played a vital role as a testbed for missile technology. Engineers and tacticians carefully studied her performance, learning how guided missiles behaved in real-world conditions at sea. These lessons directly influenced the development of newer missile systems and future warship designs. In this way, USS Canberra helped lay the foundation for the powerful guided missile cruisers and destroyers that dominate modern navies today. When war broke out in Vietnam, USS Canberra was called upon to serve in a very different kind of conflict. Although she had been designed primarily for air defense, she once again proved her adaptability. Canberra provided naval gunfire support along the Vietnamese coastline, delivering precise fire against enemy positions to support ground forces. Her remaining guns played a crucial role in missions where accuracy and sustained firepower were essential. Vietnam was a challenging environment for both the ship and her crew. Long deployments, intense heat, and the constant threat of enemy action tested everyone aboard. Yet despite these hardships, Canberra performed her duties with professionalism and determination. Her service in Vietnam demonstrated that even in an age of advanced missiles, traditional naval roles still had their place when combined with modern technology. As the 1960s progressed, technology continued to advance at a rapid pace. New missile systems offered greater range, accuracy, and reliability than those carried by Canberra. Radar and electronics improved dramatically, and newer ships were designed from the keel up to integrate these advancements. While USS Canberra remained capable, she was gradually surpassed by more modern warships. In 1970, after years of faithful service, USS Canberra was decommissioned. Her active career came to an end, but her historical importance ensured she would not be forgotten. Recognizing her unique role in naval history, efforts were made to preserve the ship rather than send her to the scrapyard. USS Canberra was eventually transformed into a museum ship, allowing the public to explore one of the earliest guided missile cruisers ever built. Today, visitors who walk her decks step into a critical moment in history. They can see the missile launchers, radar equipment, and control spaces that once stood on the front lines of the Cold War. Each compartment tells a story of innovation, adaptation, and the men who served aboard her during uncertain times. USS Canberra's legacy goes far beyond her steel hull. She represents the Navy's willingness to embrace change and invest in improving technology to meet new threats. She showed that existing ships could be transformed to remain relevant in a rapidly changing world. Most importantly, she helped shape the doctrines and strategies that continue to guide naval operations today. From her origins as a traditional heavy cruiser to her rebirth as a guided missile pioneer, USS Canberra stands as a symbol of transition. She bridged the gap between the wars of the past and the conflicts of the modern age. Her story is not just about weapons or technology, but about foresight, courage, and the constant drive to stay ahead in an unpredictable world. As long as her decks remain open and her story continues to be told, USS Canberra will remind us that history is shaped not only by battles fought, but by bold decisions made in moments of change.